I should be like you, Mel.
The ultimate on-demand destination for the UK's best fan-led football podcasts.
Want authentic supporter insight on all things Bournemouth? Follow Up the Cherries in all departments on the TalkSport Fan Network.
Club-dedicated content created by the fans, for the fans.
Search TalkSport Fan Network.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Hello, welcome back to some Cherry AM. It wouldn't be Cherry AM if I didn't have the main man next to me, Mr. Ollie Hudson. How you doing?
Good morning, Craig. Yeah, not bad. Thank you, mate. Not bad. How are you?
Yeah, all good, all good. And yeah, looking forward to a very, very busy morning. Welcome to everybody in the chat and also on Instagram as well. So that is filling up quite nicely. If you are on Instagram, come over to the YouTube channel. If you do want to get involved in the conversation, you are more than welcome. And we already have Paul Sands in the room. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Paul. Good morning, Malcolm Chiverton. Hope you're doing well. Paul from Oz is here as well. It's 5 a.m. and no, not 5 a.m. in the morning, 5 p.m. in the afternoon in Australia. So good morning, good afternoon, Paul. Good afternoon, mate. That was an awful Australian accent, wasn't it? You know, do tell me off for that, Paul. Hannah said good morning. Any more outgoings? Yeah,
And we've got a special show on Friday for incomings and outgoings. So stay tuned and stay put for Friday's show, mate.
There we are. There we are. Hold fire on that one. Yep. Malcolm has said hi, Paul from Oz and Dan. Any news on Kirkes? It rumbles on. It rumbles on. If I was a betting man, which I'm not, I think it's probably going to be done today based on what Mark McAdam said the other day, which appears to be 48 hours. So he's over here in Liverpool. Well, he's up in Liverpool for a medical. And yeah, I think unfortunately it's done, it's dusted. It's something we just need to get over. It's like it's just like a really, really bad ex-girlfriend now that's just rumbling on, isn't it? To be fair. So yeah, it's something that, you know, hopefully will be concluded and then we can just all move on from it. And of course, good luck to Alex Scott for tonight. I believe we're playing the Netherlands. I haven't really followed it in great detail, I've got to be honest, but I believe it's the Netherlands. Chris Hubble said good morning, Craig and Ollie. Good morning, Chris. Hope you're doing well. Nick has said good morning all. Morning. Dan said morning to us as well. Thank you, Dan, and good morning, mate. Guten Morgen, Ollie and Craig. Guten Morgen. My number is Craig. I see. I'm not very good at international languages. We have got Sean. Thank you so much, Sean. Hello there. Hope you're doing well. This Kirkes has got to be the longest anytime done. Yeah, in history.
I think it's been one of the most drawn out or prolonged anxiety-filled deals for a club like Bournemouth, right? One of the biggest players that we don't want to lose. And it's been going on for almost 7 weeks now, maybe 8 weeks.
Yeah, It's ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah.
George Carter, I haven't seen George before, but welcome to the channel, George. You might have been a subscriber from a long, long time ago, but great to have you with us in the live chats, and thank you so much for joining us. Matt has put medical done, contract signed, announcement today is what broke overnight on reliable sources on Kirkes.
But it sums up what you were saying, right, Craig? If you're a
Yeah.
gambling man, it'd be done today. So yeah, I think Matt's confirmed the worst or the best. It depends how you look at it. It's the worst because he's definitely going now. It's the best
Yeah.
because let's get it gone. Let's get it done. Let's move on to the next one now. Let's focus and move forward.
100%. I'm just going to jump over your comment there, Chris, for a second, because this one, wonder if we will ever know why the situation happened. Actually, Mark McAdam did give a very, very good account on a Liverpool channel called the Red Man TV. Do go and watch it afterwards as well. I watched it last night. Very, very interesting. And he said it's more, there's the talks between the clubs are so open and transparent because of Richard Hughes, but because of that as well, Liverpool have allowed us, instead of just ploughing ahead with this transfer, it's been a bit more of a gentleman's agreement because to give us time to get somebody else in. Any news of incoming at AFCB? We do have one player to mention as well, so we will come on to that.
But
George
Chris,
has said,
Chris, on Friday, another big show for incomings and outgoings will all be on Friday. We'll do a big sum up of everything that's happened so far.
I like this from George. Kirkes or Howson might hold the record for the most times Fabrizio Romano has mentioned them on his Instagram and Twitter. Oh dear, yes. To be perfectly honest, I'm he probably didn't expect to keep saying the word Bournemouth on there as well. So, hey, it's increasing, our stretch, isn't it, really, of this football club? Thank you, guys. Been a long time subscriber. Love the content. This has become my go-to show for my commute to work. Thank you so much, George. And yeah, we're going to be doing this for the foreseeable future.
If you just skip Matt's next comment and come back to it, the show's on every morning, Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. You will find us hosting live shows. That'll be for the foreseeable future. I believe it will probably be throughout the Premier League season 2, I think, from what we discussed the other evening. So, yeah, every single morning at 8 a.m. except for the weekends.
Exactly. We got to have a little bit of time off, haven't we, Ollie?
Yeah, just a little bit.
Just a little. Let's just quickly go to Matt's comment here. England, Holland tonight. Predictions, everyone in the chat. I'm going for 2-1 England. Come on, get your predictions in. We have got Chris Hubble. He's going for England 2-1. Dan's being a bit bolder. 3-0 England. Matt said they're good predictions, but do get involved. And Joe, I am jealous of you. I would much rather be doing this show sat in a muddy field in Glastonbury. Honestly, I would absolutely love to go to Glastonbury. I was talking to somebody the other day as well about it, and I was like, I would love to go there. It's just something I've never done.
Joe, if you're able to take a selfie while in some kind of Bournemouth memorabilia while listening to the show in Glastonbury at 8 o'clock one morning, please do send the selfie in. That would be a fantastic selfie at Glastonbury while listening to the morning podcast. That would be awesome.
And it will go up on the channel if you don't mind, Joe, because what we'll do, I've just popped into, there we are. There's the email address you need to send it to. So yeah, do send it in. Well, that's a lot of effort. Well done. No, it's a pleasure. We're really enjoying it. And Malcolm's gone for a 3-2 England win.
I was going to go for a 3-2, Malcolm. I think a 2-2 or a 3-2.
The Dutch are good, though.
Yeah, they are.
Dutch are very, very good. You're welcome, Matt. Rod Stewart's at Glastonbury.
Oh, that's going to be even better.
There we are. bit of Rod. Chris said you're welcome, Matt. I think I might have covered that one before. Joe has only got Bournemouth tops at Glastonbury. Good. Put one on, take a picture. Maybe in front of Rod Stewart when he's playing. Bosh. And I tell you what, we'll put it on the channel, most definitely. But yeah, Neil Young's a must. Saw him in Sydney, brilliant. And Dan said that he listens to Back of the Net too, which is cool. That's cool. So good stuff. Good stuff. Well, I tell you what, let's get stuck into the first topic. And we, like you say, we are going to do an incoming and outgoing show, but I just want to touch very quickly because there has been a brand new link this morning to Loic Bardet, I believe it said. How much do we know about this player?
I mean, excuse me this morning. Voice and throat is a bit bad. Not an incredible amount. I know that speculation started about 5 days ago. Now, with that speculation, obviously came a lot more people and a lot more eyes looking into him. So roughly around 25 million. He's a centre-back. He's quite a tall centre-back and he's only 25 years old. So in regards to playing style, watching him play, things like that, I haven't seen anything. But again, understanding the vision of what we're trying to build here, he looks like he'd fit in. He looks like a strong centre-back.
Yeah.
And obviously French falls in line with some of the other things that we're trying to do as well, right? So it doesn't look like a bad signing or a bad bit of speculation, but at the moment that is all it is, speculation. So it will be again confirmed Friday morning when we try and do the transfer in and out show.
Definitely.
I don't know if you know any more about him.
I don't, to be honest. I don't, but we'll go into him in a little bit more detail during that show just to avoid, destroying a bit of conversation. But yeah, we will cover him in a bit more detail during that Friday show.
I know. I've just seen Matt mention. Oh, sorry, go on.
Here we are. Does this feel like the longest pre-season, and any reason there are so few home pre-season games to start the season with? Do you know what? I noticed that as well, and it's a real shame. It's a real shame. So, I'm hoping that we might, get a couple more games put in the diary. Not the right back Neil Young, is it, Paul? I've seen 15 million mentions as fee. Villa are interested too, according to press, so he's going to be good. And Neil Young, was he a left back? There we are. That's what Chris said. Let's just quickly say hello to people that are in the Instagram. So we've got a couple of people watching here. Alex Marshall say we've got Lindsay Dawn, and we've also got Susan Howell watching on Instagram. So hello everyone.
People watching from Instagram. It's
exactly
a side that we're trying to start building up. So thanks, guys. That's awesome.
Yeah, definitely. And if, like I say, if you want to get involved in the conversation, we've got a lovely community going on here. Feel free to drop over into the YouTube, subscribe, and then get involved in the good conversation here. And I wonder if the behind closed doors games will be available on AFCB TV.
Yeah, so great comment and a really good idea. I'm not sure if you watched, would it have been yesterday's morning? Yeah, yesterday morning's show, we went through the schedule that we have put together as a team for the foreseeable season. Now, in that scheduling will be much more coverage behind closed doors, much more coverage and interaction with the ladies team and the youth club squad. So everything that you get through AFCB TV, again, we're going to try and make sure that you get as much of that coverage through our show and through our channel as the season goes on. So anything that you're looking for in regards to live coverage or anything like that, please do keep an eye on here or pop it over in an email to the emails that are in the comments, because it is something that we will be implementing in the show moving forward.
Yeah, definitely. Well, one thing I did want to cover today, and of course it is a little bit of a slow news day, but there was actually quite a good topic that we I thought of and we thought of, and it was to talk about this multi-club ownership model that we've got at AFC Bournemouth. So if you're not aware, the actual Black Knight Football Club group have actually got a website. I don't know how many people have been on there, but it covers, of course, ourselves, Auckland, Moriense now, Hibernian and Lorient. But it is very, very, very interesting with regards to how this model is working. The great thing, in my personal opinion, is that the clubs can work together and we can actually loan players out for experience. So, for example, Alex Paulson went to Auckland FC last year. Wasn't particularly a popular move, considering that he come from Wellington Phoenix previously, but and then was loaned straight out to the new club. But yeah, I think it's a really, really good thing. Lorient fans, though, on the other hand, have been very, very critical of Bill Foley. Um, what I wanted to do was just cover off a little bit about how each of these sides have done, especially last season, but what they actually think of being part of this group, because there has been some criticism. So I'll tell you what, let's start with the oldest in the group, apart from ourselves, of course, which is FC Lorient. I don't know if you followed their story.
Not entirely, no. I know that. I know that obviously they've got full ownership, 100% ownership of Bournemouth, right?
Yeah.
As being their flagship club, and then FC Lorient, correct me if I'm wrong, was literally so they bought us in December 22, and they bought a minority stake in FC
Yes.
Lorient in the following month, January 2023. So within 2 months, they'd obviously expanded and grown pretty quickly.
Yes. So effectively, I think it's like a 40% stake. Don't quote me on that. I did mention it in an earlier video as well with regards to Lorient and exactly how it all works. But the guy in charge is a Luke Ferry. He's a majority shareholder. They were relegated at the end of the previous season, but were promoted as champions last season from League 2. Sorry, is it League Deux? My French isn't.
I'm not,
Is
I'm
that
not
how you
sure.
say it?
Not
No.
sure.
Any French speakers?
I don't think
please
it's
put in
juice. I think it's under toi.
Under League
Yeah,
League 2.
that's it.
There
I
you are. I'll get it right there.
think.
League 2. So yeah, been promoted back to the top flight. Now, Lorient fans aren't particularly happy with Bill Foley being the minority shareholder, and that is because of the transfers out of Dango Ouattara, of course, previously. We was also interested in Enzo Lafi, who is actually part of Sunderland now. And of course, we got Creepy from them as well, who Malcolm is very, very excited about. Malcolm has told me off. He said, "Stick to English, Craig." Yeah. To be honest, there's not many languages I speak. English, bad English.
Can we go to Paul's comment?
Yes, of course.
Because super interesting, Paul. I didn't think about this. Maybe that is the case. I'm not sure of the logistics or legislations around circling money around clubs or multi-club ownership. But is this a possibility? Is it a possibility that there is something clever going on between Bournemouth, between Hibs, between Auckland, between Lorient that are allowing us to gain more money, to have more revenue, to have a bigger return on investment? Is that all down to the FFP, or is there other things going on here, really?
Very, very possible. And there is. We saw it as well last season, where there was management, wasn't there, of to actually effectively management of funds between certain Premier League clubs. It all seemed a bit iffy. Like Villa was buying a player from Everton, and then Everton were buying a player from Newcastle, and it was all seemed very, very like everybody was trying to get around it. I wouldn't be surprised by this. Wouldn't be surprised, and maybe there is money that is being moved about. I am going to come back to your a comment in a moment, Matt, the earlier one, but to be fair, Krupi was valued at 30 million, and we get him for 13 million. Yeah, that was just lost in translation, Matt. That was just lost in translation. We always agreed the 13 million.
That's a conversion rate there.
Yeah,
so.
exactly. Yeah, we
Sorry about that.
turned around and we said, oh yeah, we'll buy him for 13 million, and they think, oh, 30 million, okay, and then they see 13 million hit the bank account. No, I'm sure.
I can understand. I can understand where the where the annoyance would come from the Lorient side for sure. Like if we've had full ownership taken on as the flagship company, and all of a sudden they've also had a minority share being acquired. They've been pulled into something they don't necessarily want to be pulled into, which is multi-club ownership, and at the same time are then getting picked apart. I can understand. You can understand why a team. Imagine if we went into a multi-team ownership with Man City or Liverpool, and then the focus wasn't on us, and we were in a championship side, and all of a sudden, all of our players were just getting picked. We'd be just as mad, right? So I can see it. I can see why FC Lorient wouldn't be too pleased with the deal moving forward. However, that doesn't necessarily mean that teams like FC Lorient or Hibs, which again we've only got a 25% stake in, or Auckland, none of these teams are going to lose out, because again, there's like a whole strategy and identity of what Bill Foley's trying to do. So I think just calm the nerves for the moment, Lorient. I get it. It's going to be a struggle. Just ride the journey and just keep faith. And I think we're all heading in the same direction here. I think there's a plan. I don't think it's to liquidate or make any one club worse than the other. I don't think that's the point of this football business. So there is there is obviously a larger plan to be had here, and the clubs that he's picked to be a part of that plan all have a pinnacle point to play at some point, I think.
What's the benefit of seeing a club flop?
Oh no, there isn't.
Exactly. There is absolutely zero benefit to anybody. So.
And I'm pretty sure that your 40% stake in Lorient would have cost more than you just buying the players that you wanted to buy. So there has to be a much bigger business plan here in place.
100%. Just going to jump to this one. Just jumping out of that conversation just quickly. I don't think the friendlies is such a bad thing. It's good to for stuff to be behind closed doors. Don't forget, 3 games in the summer series will be televised. The important thing is they are good opponents. Do you know what? I'm not a big fan of this summer series stuff. Because at the end of the day, we're playing Everton, West Ham, and Manchester United. We're going to play them next season. I'd rather play somebody like, hey, if we can get Athletic Bilbao, that's a game. That's a game that, should be a friendly. I know the summer series is to drive, interest in the Premier League, but I don't think it appeals to, the fans outside of the US. I've never been to Scotland. It'd be a brilliant excuse to see them play at Hibs. I completely agree. And after being relegated, I can understand Lorient fans, but I haven't heard much from them. Are their fans okay now? Winning and promotion probably certainly helped.
Very, very
they
good.
are quite a small club, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, and again, I think the comment is absolutely spot on there. I think, yes, there may have been some distaste and some bitterness in their mouth before or when they got relegated, but having then won the promotion, this is look, it's now turning into Bournemouth emotions, right? Up and down, let's work for it. There's a plan here. There's now a bit of oomph ploughed into the town or the city, a bit of energy put into the club because there's some effort trying to get them somewhere. So I completely agree with the comment. I think, they might be a little bit distasteful now, but, they're on a journey now, so they got to ride the wave.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. let's go on to the next club, which is Hibernian in the group. And of course, mentioned there as well by Sean with regards to Hibernian and, of course, going to Scotland. We are going to just visit Scotland very briefly here. And they are a team that have kind of embraced the Black Knight Football Group ownership. And they had one of their best seasons for a long, long time last year in finishing third, which was a tremendous effort and means that they're in the Europa League second qualifying round for this season. And an interesting one. I know we all say Scottish football is not very good. We always go on about that. But in all facts, outside of Celtic and Rangers, Hibernian have done the best out of everybody. They are a club which is a little bit of a sleeping giant in Scottish football. And we are starting to see them maybe grow. They are owned by the Boylan Group, I believe it is. But again, Bill Foley has a minority stake. And yeah, to be honest, it's quite good to see them, finding a bit more success out of being part of this group. Sorry, it's the By Dan Sports Group. Sorry, apologies. So yeah, it's good to see them getting a bit more success. What do you make of that? Third in the Scottish Premiership.
Yeah, I mean, you can't groan at that, right? The two big giants in the Scottish League. If you're sitting behind those, I think that's a super healthy place to be. If you're the other best club in Scotland, that's not Celtic or Rangers, then it's something to shout about, right?
Yeah,
I think as simple as that. I think if you're going to be rivaling those two, then you're creating a big stir in Scottish football, and I don't think that'll happen for a while. Rivaling them, however, if you're just under them, just taking everything else, then yeah, you're in a good position. You're in a really good position.
Definitely. We've got quite a few more people on the Instagram. We've got Alan Hardy and we've got Gabe the Ref as well. So good to have you with us, guys. So yeah, thank you so much. Like I say, get involved in the conversation. Come over to the YouTube, and you can come chat with this lovely community. And then just quickly touching upon the third club, of course, Moriense, is a new acquisition, so we won't touch too much on them. And we did touch on them the other day. But Bill Foley went all FIFA 98 on our backsides, and did what everybody seems to do, or used to do when they were kids, which is go onto FIFA, create a side with you and your friends, stick them in the league, and then win the league with that team. And basically, he literally did that, didn't he?
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah, great analogy as well. As soon as he said reliving the old FIFA days, it took me back to exactly that 99, 2000, 2001, making the best team possible, putting all of their stats up and just beating everyone in the world as Bournemouth.
Oh, exactly, mate. Exactly. It was the days when Bournemouth weren't on FIFA. And what we would do is we just literally just crank up the stats and it'd be like, yep, we're better,
Yeah.
So yeah, honestly, it's with Auckland, did a fantastic job. I know again the A League isn't particularly good. I did see a Champions League 2 game in Singapore when I was out there, and I've got to be honest, the standard of Sydney FC was not very good compared to the Singaporean side, but is still quite an achievement. I don't think Sydney FC did very well last season either. Becoming the next Rangers is the next step, and then Celtic. Yeah, I think it's quite a big bridge to get over that, but if Bill Foley can help them do that, it'd be very interesting, and it'd be a good thing for Scottish football as well, actually.
Yeah, it would.
Especially
as Rangers and Celtic's rivalry has been going off the last 2 years, so that hasn't exactly been Celtic best every time, right? If I'm correct.
Yeah.
So the more that Rangers and Celtic continue to discombobulate themselves and continue to fight against each other, maybe Hibs can squeeze in.
And I think that would be good for Scottish football. It would just open it up, and there would be a lot more interest in it as well. We did speak to a Hibs channel on cherry picking last season. Link for those in the chat if you want to check it out. So do check it out afterwards.
Thanks, Matt.
There's the link. Just a load of random letters and numbers to a lot of people, but it does lead somewhere very interesting. But yeah, the reason why as well, though, and I know that you said, well, this is all good, for AFC Bournemouth. It's great for all the clubs involved. Something has come out literally in the past couple of days we're going back to France for this with regards to Lyon. And Lyon are being relegated to Ligue 2 or Ligue 2 or whatever it is. They're being relegated because of poor financial management. And this is the club that is also owned by John Textor. If anybody knows, John Textor also owns Crystal Palace. And that makes it quite interesting to me because there's quite a bit of debt at Lyon. They've had to sell quite a few players, including Cherries to Manchester City, to actually try and balance the books. They haven't, and they've been relegated. But could this effectively pull, Crystal Palace into a bit of a mess themselves?
I don't understand. I don't understand. There has to be some clear cut-off criteria here, right? Because the first thing is that because Lyon made Champions League, Crystal Palace can't go into Champions League, right? That was the first thing because of dual ownership. Yeah. Now, if Lyon have now had issues with their finances and dropped out of League One, surely that means that they are now null and void from the Champions League, which means Crystal Palace should get their spot.
Yeah, they're both in the Europa League.
In Europa, sorry.
Yeah, they're both in the Europa League. They were former Champions League semi-finalists, as this article that I'm just looking at says. Eagle Football Group's debts have soared to 422 million, which is a ridiculous amount. So that is the holding company above Crystal Palace and Lyon. I don't know who else is within Eagle Football Group, but that, personally, if I was a Palace fan, regardless of what they did last season, I would be very, 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 very concerned, moving forwards. Do you see where I'm coming from?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm just having a look actually at the other teams that are involved in this, and they are in. I think it's Botafogo. Have I said that right? Botafogo. Yeah, Botafogo. Botafogo.
Possibly.
Possibly. They're also in charge of FC Florida and Daring Brussels. So they have got a similar sort of scope as we have. Although, and this is big although, I think personally the clubs that we've got in Black Knight Football Club group are probably more prestigious. Looking at it, okay, Lyon, massive club, but then they've been relegated. So this 422 million that is encompassing above, each of these five clubs, this has got to be a real concern for Palace fans.
Yeah, absolutely it is. And why would you want to be going into a new season with that over your head? I mean, the multi-club ownership and stuff already is a bit of a, I think, in their opinion, a bit of a faff, right? They're already having to try and battle off against a team that's not even in the same country for a spot for a tournament that is also not in the same country. But yet they're having to enter into a season with a 400 million deficit. That can't be comfortable. You can't be comfortable walking into a new season in a deficit that allows you no flexibility where money's concerned, no flexibility where players are concerned. You're then going to have to start managing that deficit, surely, for the next 2 to 5 years. So your transfer in and out targets are now going to be manipulated completely because of your financial situation. To me, that's an incredibly tough situation to be in as a fan.
But a lot of this hasn't come from Crystal Palace themselves, but it might fall on their door because you've got, if Lyon have overspent, it might be a case that this football group are going to have to pull money in from another entity. I don't know how this bit works. And yeah, I completely agree with this, Malcolm. The financial problems at Lyon has nothing to do with Palace, in my opinion. I completely agree, but being the parent company, that money's got to be paid somewhere. And if Lyon can't do it, then what happens? It's actually the parent company, the Eagle Football Group, which are in this amount of debt. Are Black Knight Football Group in debt? Is it a case that, say for example, Lorient might have built up, a ridiculous amount of, debt, and then we have to help pay that off. This is the other spin side of it. This is the other thing that concerns me. We are having a lot of Messi talk, actually. Vishnu, how are you doing, Vish? He said, happy birthday, Messi. Malcolm said that he'd be miffed if he was a Lorient fan. 38 years young today, Messi. Happy birthday, Lionel. If you are watching up the Cherries and all departments, I'm sure it is your go-to place every morning when sat there in Argentina, or, very, very early in the morning. No, it would be Miami, wouldn't it? Sat there. He'll be sit there watching it with Beckham. Beckham will be like, what are these guys going on about? There we are. And Ollie over Messi, by the way,
I'll take it.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Vishnu's seen you play football.
Spraying
those balls around.
It's been a while since I kicked the football, Vish.
Oh, it's been even longer and bloody with my ankles. It's yeah. Vish, welcome to the show. Good to see you. And he only owes 43% of Palace, so agree with Malcolm. Maybe the only way, yeah, I do. Yeah, I do get that point. But it would still concern me. It still concern me if the parent company was in that much debt. It would still concern because it would be like, right, okay, how are they going to get out of this? And yeah, but it shouldn't really fall on Crystal Palace. Palace have done well. Lyon, maybe not so well, although they have got into the Europa League. But there's not much money in the French league. Or not as much in the French league, as there is in English leagues. But yeah, so there we are. I think that covers everything. Sean has just said, any news with the ladies, especially as it would be much closer for me, and even development games being played at the training ground.
Absolutely, yeah. So I actually wanted to ask, Sion, is that a Welsh name, Sion? Only because I'm in North Wales at the moment, so I wanted to see if that was a Welsh name. Correct me if I'm wrong. I might be completely wrong. But yes, in regards to ladies, there is much more stuff coming on the ladies. There is more coverage, more footage, more commentation, everything is going to be coming around the ladies for next season. So you'll have a whole almost set of shows dedicated to it moving throughout the next year.
Well, there we are. We are going to be doing some more shows on the ladies. And talking about Wales, I did once upon a time interview. Well, no, actually, I'm going to mention 2 interviews. I interviewed the Stefan Rodri, who Dave's coaches from Gavin and Stacey. He's a not Wrexham fan, Swansea fan. Sorry, Dave. But yeah, he's a lovely, lovely guy. Stefan Rodri, Dave's coaches, also been in Harry Potter, amongst other things. And also, I've got to mention as well, did you ever watch The Call Centre? We've been in call centres, right?
I did,
Yeah, there was a guy called Nev, wasn't there? Sadly, God rest his soul, he's no longer with us. But we spoke to Chickenhead. And Chickenhead is used to work for Save Britain Money, and honestly, just brilliant. There's do go and watch those if you're interested in Wales. Some of the nicest people out there.
Shout out to Sion. Dad was determined to have a Welsh named child, so
Thought
as much.
There we are.
Nice to have you on the show this morning watching, and hopefully have you back tomorrow and Friday as well.
Yes, most definitely. But does his 43% carry any debt against the club? Questions for a financial expert. How about Kieran Maguire? Very much so.
Yeah.
Maybe that would be quite a good conversation to have. So yes, leave that with me. Leave that thought in my head, and I will get onto that. Well, I think that probably concludes everything. It's been quite a long show. Like I say, guys, hit the like, subscribe, the bell button below to make this channel grow. Thank you again to everybody on Instagram who have consistently watched us throughout the whole episode. Alex Marshall Say, Lindsay Dawn, Susan Howe, Alan Hardy, Gabe the Ref, and Ben Vincent. Thank you so much for joining us.
Appreciate
Come
it.
over to YouTube, subscribe as well, we shall see you tomorrow. Like, I didn't want to make you aware, I won't be here tomorrow, but Matthew and Malcolm will be. And the main reason being is I've got to have a checkup from the neck up. Got to go for this.
Check up from the neck up.
But do you know what? Good news here. It has come down. So I think the stress, maybe certain things were stressing me out. So
yeah.
And,
Matt and Malcolm from tomorrow, and
Yes.
me and Malcolm on Friday. So I'll be hosting the show from Bournemouth, funnily enough.
Yep, there we go. There we are.
Up the Cherries.
Up the Cherries. And Matt, just very quickly before we go, I went to Wales a few times. One memory is getting relegated at Wrexham. Yeah.
We won't talk about
that, but although we do remember when James Hayter scored those goals, and Malcolm said, "Oh, goody, you're looking forward to." We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for joining us.
Yes.
Hit the like, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next episode.
TalkSport Fan Network.
The ultimate on-demand destination for the UK's best fan-led football podcasts.
Want authentic supporter insight on all things Bournemouth? Follow Up the Cherries in all departments on the TalkSport Fan Network.
Club-dedicated content created by the fans, for the fans.
Search TalkSport Fan Network.
I should be like you, Mel.